Okay, before we get started, just so that everyone is clear, the goal is not to have somebody on corporate here every week. The goal is that we're going to have you, the leaders, that are going to be on this each and every week. And so that's the goal is to have you guys on here presenting. But what we're doing is we're building out a curriculum. And I say curriculum, that seems somewhat professional, right? Or maybe really structured, but that's the intent. The intent is that we have a curriculum that we're cycling through every 5 to 6 weeks, 7 weeks on these calls so that somebody can come in each and every week and learn some sort of content that's going to help them in their business. As we're building out this franchise business model and we're doing all of the things that we need to do to help you guys be successful long term, it's very important to us that we have the platform in place. So the curriculum will be the same. The presenters will be different each and every week, and you're going to hear their stories and their testimonials and what's working for them in their businesses. And so that's where we're going to be starting off. And so that's the reason why I wanted to start off with this first slide deck with the independent member, is because this is truly the members network. We want to partner with you from a corporate perspective to ensure that you guys are getting everything that you need to be successful. But in the meantime, we want to make sure that it's the members that are delivering the content. We want to create the message and empower you with the message so that you can do that. Excuse me, I don't know why my throat's so dry. So I don't know if you guys have tried the new Core Go combo yet, but it's awesome. Okay, so let's dive in. Right today, we're going to be talking about the one thing that we're going to be sharing and talking about today is how to invite. So let's start off though in the very beginning, why would we want to invite somebody to this opportunity? And I think that is really important to understand prior to going out and inviting somebody to the business. And the reality is that no matter who you are, what walk of life you come from, everybody's looking for something: more time, more money, more freedom, better health, better wealth, better relationships. You know, I worked a long time ago in this business. I worked with a multi-million-dollar real estate investor who was a bodybuilder, extremely fit, extremely into nutrition, had a ton of money, but didn't have any friends, didn't have any relationships. And that was one of the things that he was looking for was, you know, to get out with like-minded individuals. And he grew and had a very successful business in this industry because he was around that. So let's just talk about a couple of things in the beginning as to why somebody would be looking for this opportunity. Now, all of you guys that are listening to this are much younger than me. So these are things that you're probably not thinking about, but where will you be at the age of 65? Where are you going to be? Here's some of the stats. Out of 100 people who would turn 65, these are stats that you can find online, so you don't have to take my word for it. 1 will be wealthy. 4 will be financially independent. Now, those two things are completely different. And 5 will still be working at the age of 65. 35 will be deceased because they're not taking care of their health, right? 55 will be dependent upon relatives or Social Security benefits at the age of 65. Out of 100 people, these are the stats. Now, it's easy when you look at these stats to see where you would like to be or to be able to plug somebody into these stats of people that were there. Again, we're talking about inviting people to the opportunity, inviting people to hear a little bit more about M tonight and how to go about that. But again, why or how is two completely different things. And until we understand the why, the how will never come into effect. But here's something that everybody has in common with. Everybody that we come in contact has these things in common. Number 1, we all have time, right? We all have the same 24 hours in the day. Some people manage that time completely different and better than others. But at the end of the day, we all have the same 24 hours in a day. Now, what does everybody want? We want more time, more money, and more freedom. Those are things that everybody wants. And we have that in common, right? The reason why we're Tuesday night on this webinar, locking arms, having a conversation, is those are things that we have in common. We all want more time. We all want more money. We all want more freedom. Now, so this is something that I borrowed this. So let me come back to this really quickly. So I borrowed this slide from Richard O'Brien, and he had this video, which I think is absolutely funny. But if you guys have seen it, just bear with me, and let's watch it.
When I grow up, I want to file all day.
I want to claw my way up to middle management, be replaced on a whim.
I want to have a brown nose. I want to be a yes man, yes woman.
Yes, sir. Coming, sir.
Anything for a raise, sir. When I grow up, I want to be underappreciated.
Be paid less for doing the same job. I want sunshine rolled up my dress.
I think that's kind of funny, but that's the reality. A lot of us start out life with an expectation, right? We all had dreams, we all had goals. Some of us wanted to be firemen, some of us wanted to be astronauts, some of us wanted to be a dancer, some of us wanted to be Wonder Woman. We all wanted something when we started out life, but life is a funny thing. There's a book out there, and if you guys haven't read it, I would strongly encourage it. It's John Maxwell's Putting Your Dreams to the Test. But in this book, he talks about disappointment is the gap between people's dreams and the reality. And I believe that it's our responsibility, and this is very important when we're talking about inviting, and we're going to get into the how-tos here in just a second. But when we're inviting somebody to hear about the opportunity, it is so important that we understand that everybody has goals and dreams and aspirations. But before we can reach out and invite somebody else, it's important for us to identify what those are. And it's our responsibility as leaders, and being a part of the M Network, you are a leader because you're taking charge of your life and you're leading a way. So you don't need a pin, you don't need a title, you don't need a paycheck to determine whether or not you're a leader. But at the end of the day, you are a leader, and it's important that we help understand our own goals and our own dreams, which those are two separate things. We've talked about that on previous calls. At the end of the day, to understand what those are before you can help lead somebody else to their own goals and their own dreams and their own aspirations. And so step one, before we get into the inviting phase tonight, identify what is your goals, your dreams, and your aspirations. Because until you're chasing those goals and those dreams, it's really not important on how to go out and invite somebody else, because how can you expect somebody else to live their goals, their dreams, their aspirations until you completely understand your own? So let's get into the 8 steps of how to invite. There's 8 steps. Number 1 is be in a hurry. 2, compliment the prospect. 3, make the invitation. 4, if I, would you. 5 is confirmation. Number 1 is get the time commitment. Confirmation number 2, which is step 6, is confirm the time commitment. And then step number 8 is get off the phone, right? So those are the 8 steps that we're going to go through. So let's talk about what those 8 steps look like. So step number 1 is be in a hurry. So this invitation can come in the form of a phone call, preferably in person. Very rarely is it something in my mind that should be done via text or via phone call or via email. And the reason why is because when you send something to somebody in written communication, depending on how that message or invitation is crafted, it gives people time to respond. When you're interacting and you have a dialogue with one another, sometimes it's a lot harder for somebody to take time to research or try to figure out what you're going to say in response to be able to do that. So again, this invitation process, this 8-step, is either over a phone call or in person. Okay, so just understand that aspect of it. So step 1 is be in a hurry, being respectful of people's time. And I think that's something that in this day and age is getting less and less because of the environment that we live with. people aren't necessarily respectful of other people's time, right? That they're always putting their own interests or their own time needs in front of others. And so step number one is being respectful of other people's time. Also, if you're in a hurry, there's going to be a lot fewer questions. There's a lot less resistance because there's not that much time to come up with the thought process. People will be more respectful of your time if you're respectful of their time. And urgency is your friend. Because if you're urgent, if you're, hey, I see AJ and Jill's picture on the screen here. Hey, AJ, I don't have a lot of time. However, I've come across something that I think you would be extremely interested in, something that I'm extremely excited about. I don't have a lot of time, and then go into these next 7 steps. Because if you start the conversation in a hurry, it'll make it easier to close the conversation in a hurry. And if you're so busy because you're so excited about something, then what it does is it gets them excited about it and they don't even know what it is that they're talking about. Urgency creates excitement. Think about that. I want to create some things around the office here where you have urgency equals excitement, because when you're excited and when you have that sense of urgency, you're excited about things. So urgency is your friend. So step number one, after you've defined your why, after you've defined what it is that you're looking for and why you'd be interested in inviting somebody to hear more about this opportunity, step number one is be in a hurry. And I think I spelled hooray instead of hurry. Dave is probably turning over in his grave, but he's not in his grave yet, but he's growing hair upstairs, pulling it out so he can pull it out. Step two, compliment the prospect. This is important because, again, there's a couple of reasons. Compliment has to be sincere. It can't be made up. It can't be fake. You can think of anything positive to compliment somebody on. And that goes to the last bullet point here, which you should only want to do business with people you respect. So if there's nothing that you can think about complimenting this person from, the way they dress or they talk or how they act or whatever, if there's nothing that you can sincerely compliment this person with, then you should not be bringing them into the M network. You should not want to do business. See, M Network is a type of company that is not just because you can fog a mirror, which means you have life in your lungs and you have a credit card, you should be in this business. Those are not the types of people that we want in this business. We want good quality people who are going to advance your business. Again, you are doing yourself and the company a disservice if you cannot think of anything to compliment this person with to bring them into your business. Hard to be negative with the compliment. That's another thing is, we're going to go back to the old dating days, for me, that was many moons ago because I'm a lot older than all of you guys. But at the end of the day, when you're giving somebody a compliment, it's really hard for them to be negative when they're receiving a compliment. There's another reason. People don't often get compliments. Think about that. When was the last time that somebody complimented you? How did it make you feel? How did you react towards the person that was complimenting you? Vice versa. When you complimented somebody, whether it's the waitress and how she gives you service, or the bank teller, or your spouse, or your children, or your coworkers, people don't often get compliments. And so when they get compliments, it's nice and it tears down a lot of those barriers that most people have. It helps build rapport, and you should only want to do business with people that you respect. We talked about that. Step 3 out of the 8 steps is make the invitation. If you're beating around the bush and you're just sitting there talking and you're not really having a direct conversation with somebody, 1, it defeats step 1, which is being in a hurry. And 2, it's a disservice to you and your business because people don't feel like you have any urgency or that you're doing anything. So step 3 is make sure that you make the invitation. There's 3 different ways to make the invitation. There's the direct approach, the indirect approach, and the super indirect approach. Number one, the director approach. I find that this is the most, the approach that's going to get the best results is the direct approach. And the reason for that is that, I'm a guy, right? Women, sometimes, there's a language that you can talk through and have many different approaches, but I'm a guy. I need it in black and white. I just tell me what you want, how you want it. And if I can do it, it's going to happen, right? The direct approach, when we're making that invitation, is the direct. Hey, Shauna, I think you are absolutely amazing. I don't have a lot of time. However, there's something that I know that you would be super interested in. You have a sound business mind. You have the ability to influence people. And so, Shauna, I would love for you to take a look at what I'm doing. It's either I'm going to invite you to receive a sample, and we'll talk about that in step 4, that if I will you. I'm going to invite you to get on a webinar. I'm going to invite you to get on a 3-way call. I'm going to invite you to watch a video, right? There's a bunch of different direct approaches that I can take. The indirect approach is, hey, Shauna, you are somebody that I've absolutely respected. You have a sound business mind. Hey, if I ran a business idea by you, would you give me your honest feedback? That's an indirect approach in the sense that I'm asking her opinion about something, but I'm not asking if she would be interested in the business. So there's the direct approach, which, Shauna, I know you, I love you, I trust you, and I want you in my business because of what you bring to the table and all the things that I respect about you. Or there's the indirect approach, which is that of, hey, Shauna, I respect you in the sense that you have a sound business mind. Would you, give me your thoughts or feedback on something that I'm working on, right? That's the indirect approach. Now, that works for some people. That works with a lot in like a super close relationship, friend, family member, somebody that you have a lot of respect with, but you might not be too keen on sharing the business opportunity right out of the gates, the indirect approach. Somebody that is an acquaintance, somebody that I know through a friend of a friend, I'm going to make the direct approach because I want to get to the answer. I want to sift through and get to the answer super fast out of respect for you and your time. Now, there's the super indirect approach, which is, that of, hey, I noticed that you post about weight loss on your timeline a lot. Obviously, that's something that interests you. What is it that you're currently doing? I don't like the super indirect approach because if somebody's already engaged in another business model or somebody's already, has a super strong opinion about something, the super indirect approach makes it harder to circle back and have a direct or an indirect approach later on. But again, everybody's personalities are different. Everybody communicates differently. And so find the approach that works for you, the direct, indirect, super indirect, find an approach that works for you and then stick with it. And then you can modify that approach different ways depending on the individual that you're working with. Now, step 4. To me, this is one of the most critical steps. And that is, if I'm going to do something for you, would you do this for me in return? It's the give and take. Now, this approach works extremely well in the sense that you're giving something before you're asking something. So if I sent you a sample of a stick, would you take it and give me your feedback, right? If I sent you a video, would you watch it and give me your honest feedback? If I invited you to a webinar, would you get on? The if I, would you, the give and the ask. Believe in what you're talking about. Again, this goes back to what we were talking about in the very beginning, which is the why and why you're doing this. But having belief in what you're talking about is super incredibly important, right? Because, and yes, I just put super incredibly important all in one sentence. However, the reality is to that is that if you don't believe in what you're talking about, then how can you help somebody else? There's a quote that says a man or woman convinced against their will is still of the same opinion. So if you're not convicted in your thoughts and your ideas and your opinion, how can you then turn around and get somebody else to believe in something that you don't? You have to have belief in what you're doing. Can you add value to this individual's life? Again, when you're inviting somebody and you're asking if I would you, is this going to add value in their life? Can you show them value in their life if they go through with these action items? Is it about you or is it about them? And the invitation, again, when we're inviting somebody to something or to listen to something or to try something or to experience something, we're essentially asking them to give up one of their most important assets, which is their time, right? They're already giving you your time as you're going through this, but the if I would you is an important step in getting somebody to understand that what you're sharing with them is indeed important to them. Step 5, get the time commitment. Set the proper expectation. When will you be following up? Be true to the commitment. So again, setting up proper expectations is something that I believe sets the M Network apart from every other direct sales network marketing company out there, is because at the beginning, we're focused on helping set the expectation and help people to get to a point of understanding and knowing where they need to be, right? And so getting the commitment, the proper expectation is if I call you at 7 o'clock on Tuesday, will that work for you? 7 o'clock Mountain, 7 o'clock Eastern. Be specific, but get a time commitment from them. Throw out a couple different times that'll work for you. Get a time that works for them. Make sure that it works for you. Don't, if you can make it work in your schedule, great, but don't try to double book something in the expectation that somebody's going to cancel, because it's super important to be true to the commitment. Because if this is important now, it better be important when you have the time commitment and when you're going to be following up with them. So make sure that before you hang up the call or before you walk away from that conversation, that you have a time commitment. Step 6, confirm the commitment. So, okay, Jill, you said Tuesday at 7 o'clock, correct? This Tuesday, right? This Tuesday at 7 o'clock, confirming the commitment. The commitment that's confirmed increases the percentage of the follow through. Now, I'm a guy, things happen, things fall through the cracks, just life happens, right? At the end of the day, if I confirm the commitment, then I'm going to do that. John Zenas is on here tonight. John Zenas is probably one of the best ones that I've ever seen in this. Not only does he set the time, but he confirms the commitment, and then he follows through. So, and he verifies the expectation of the things. So that's something that I've admired about working with John, is that he's constantly, setting the commitment, confirming the commitment, and then step 7, scheduling the call or the appointment, right? You are a busy professional. Identify the type of the call and the time, the length of a call. So if I'm inviting somebody to a webinar, I'm getting somebody on a 3-way call, I'm doing something, I'm going to tell them the time commitment that's going to be there when I schedule the call. Okay, the call is going to be 15 to 20 minutes. It's a 30-minute webinar. Hey, the sample that I'm sending you, I'm sending you 5 sticks. It's a week-long commitment. I need you to take a stick every day and send me a text or a phone call as what you think, right? Identify what that is, scheduling the call, letting them know what that expectation is. What did they just commit to? So step 7. And then step 8 is get off the call. This is something that I've seen throughout my career, is that people do this over and over and over again. And that is, they confirm the commitment, they go through all of the steps, they're in a hurry, they do all of these things. And then once they got the commitment, they're like, wow, that was easy. And then they stay on the phone and talk themselves out of the commitment, because why do I need to get on a 3-way call when you called me and told me you were in a hurry, and then you spent 45 minutes explaining xanthones and catechins and proanthocyanidins and flavonoids and how Choreo is curing cancer and you need this, right? Like that's the reality is that oftentimes we can talk ourselves out of the commitment. So get off the phone. Remember, you're in a hurry. Don't talk yourself out of the invitation. Those things are all important. So again, keeping this very simple, keeping this, looking at this, there's just 8 simple steps. To recap is be in a hurry, right? Let's just recap really quickly. Let's go back to the beginning. And then I have some slides here to show you. Okay. 8 steps, be in a hurry. Step 1, compliment the prospect, make the invitation. If I would you got the confirmation, get the time commitment, confirmation 2, confirm the time commitment. And then you've got step 6, which is schedule the time, schedule the call, and then get off the phone is step 8. So now let's slide through here. And so let's talk about really quickly some of the tools and support that we have while making the invitation, right? We have the ability to send people to our replicated websites. We have 8 different replicated websites that are there for your use and for your comfort. And I say that, and some people think comfort, this is not comfortable, right? But the reality is that you don't have to be an expert. In most cases, it pays not to be the expert, because sometimes if we're talking about all of the science or we're talking about the business and we're using all of this different language, a lot of times it makes it so complicated that, wow, Leonard is so amazing, and the way that he describes the stuff is so awesome. I can see why he's a successful leader, but I could never do what Leonard does. If you use the tools that are provided to you, and a lot of the tools that are going to be coming, which I'm really excited about, is if you use the tools, then it shows simplicity. Remember, there's always 2 questions in every conversation that we have with individuals, especially prospects, when we're getting them into the business. And that is, can I do it? And is it worth it? Most of the time, people focus on the second question, is it worth it? Yeah, you can make all this money and you can get healthy and skinny and popular and rich and all of those things, but we never talk about the can I do it? And so by using the tools and support, here's another one that's awesome. This is the personalized replicated website that you can do. We've got another one, which is the weight loss, right? By using the tools, we make it simple and easy for people to want to plug into what it is that we're doing, because they can use the tools, they can use the testimonials, they can share all of the things that are out there so that it makes it simple and easy. Hey, if they can do it, I can do it. I can share a video, I can sell a sample, I can share the information to get somebody on a webinar, I can plug somebody into a 3-way call, I can do all of these things, right? Back office, there's a lot of tools, there's trainings. I did a compensation plan training this morning for a new group. Yet there's the compensation plan training in the back office, right? Those are things that you have the ability and access to plug into. All of the trainings that are in the back office, you have the Tuesday night training calls. It's important to talk about some of these things that we have that are available at our fingertips, because a lot of times people want change. They don't know how to go out and get change. But if we can show that individual, we can show people how we can connect them to positive change, then we can make that a reality, right? Core.AO, this is one of my favorite websites, right? With the videos, with the testimonials, with the products, all of those things makes it simple and easy to be able to plug into. The video at the Go's videos is amazing, right? And so again, bringing this all full circle is what do we want to accomplish with the invite? What is it that we want to do? Do we simply want them to buy a product from us? Do we want them to join our team? Or do we truly want to take this individual and change their life? And you have to believe that we can change their life. What is it that we want to do? And then how, right? The approach, going through the 8 steps, how are we going to contact this person and plug into it? But again, it always ties back to the center of your universe. The center of everything that you do should be tied back to why. Why are we inviting? Why do you feel like this is a great opportunity? And again, you guys have heard me share this quote, and you'll hear me share this quote a million times over again. Ronald Reagan once said, if you want to get something done, give somebody a checklist and chances are they'll get it done. But if you want to change the world, give them a cause or a purpose and they'll change the world. So the invite in which we're inviting people to come into our business is always tied back to that one simple aspect. Why? Why are we inviting them? And why will what we have to offer them benefit? Remember the John Maxwell quote, disappointment is the gap between people's dreams and the reality. It's our responsibility as leaders to bridge that gap so that they don't have disappointment by connecting them to their cause and their purpose. When we add cause and purpose into people's lives, into our relationships, into our business, into our inviting, into our sampling, into our product sharing, into our product sales, everything that we do magnifies by a minimum of tenfold. And when we magnify those things and we put the importance or significance on those things, then we can take somebody from when we found them and we can help them improve their life from all aspects, mind, body, spirit, soul sticks, right? At the end of the day, it's important for us to help add value into every person's life that we come in contact with. If that's not your intent when you go out and invite somebody, please don't extend the invitation. Please don't do this company and yourself a disservice by just throwing somebody in here. Let's go out and invite people to this opportunity with purpose, with intent, with focus on helping them be better because of what we offer. And we do that because we believe in our hearts that what we have to offer is better than what they currently have. And so that's, I'm going to leave you with the welcome to M. I love having you guys be a part of this company. Again, we are so blessed and so grateful to have the incredible leaders such as yourselves day in and day out representing this company. Could not be more proud and more honored than to be on this track and running down this path and building with this cause and purpose as I am with each and every one of you guys. So thank you so much for all that you guys do. And thank you for being on the call tonight. Thanks for all that you guys are. And so thanks, Laura, for pointing out my misspelled prospect. Again, I'll make sure that John or Dave gets the slide deck before. But honestly, guys, thank you so much for all that you guys do. Certainly love and appreciate all of you guys. God bless you. And we'll talk to you all soon. Thank you.